I am going to walk down the aisle here and visit my very special neighbor. Here
Oh,
she
howdy,
is,
neighbor.
Lisa Kristine from, we got to get your son. Oh, you put it,
I corrected
you had it backwards yesterday. Very clever. From Sonoma, California, Lisa Kristine. Here you are.
Hey.
You know, we go back a ways. I want to say maybe 15, 20 years. Sausalito might have been the first time we met.
Yeah, wow. Yep, I wish that show still existed, but
I
it doesn't.
do too. Isn't that sad? That was a terrific show, and boy, did we ever have some good times.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about you and your work. And this is a really deep story, folks, and we're going to just kind of scratch the surface. What Lisa Kristine does with her photography, and basically her mission in life is pretty phenomenal. So if you could give us just a real, this isn't doing you justice, but just a real brief story about what you're doing. And I'm going to show some of your work while you're talking about it, okay?
Yeah, the work is from over 150 countries made over the last 40 years. It's really intended to inspire unity and dignity. The notion that instead of being afraid of one another's differences, instead perhaps we were curious or full of wonder and how that would change relationships. And then right over here, in this little area, is my cause-related work that I do on modern-day slavery on the front lines, using the imagery to really bend the arc toward justice.
Wow. This is some really powerful stuff. That's what has struck me so much over the years is, I mean, this is one of those displays that people come into at shows and you can just see the goosebumps racing on their arms. Don't you think? You've got to see that all the time.
Yes, it's very special. I feel very grateful.
And as a result, I mean, in order to do all this, you travel a lot.
Yes, I do.
I mean,
An
what
awful
did you
lot.
say? You've already been in like 9 countries this year or something? Did I hear that?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow, so I've been paying attention.
Yeah, you're right. You have.
I have my moments.
Yeah. It's a melange of opening exhibitions, and I do a lot of speaking engagements or go to parliaments and the UN and things to help make change. You know.
And are you? Do you feel like you're making some change? That's a hard one, isn't it?
I feel that all of us have this great capacity for change when we arrive somewhere in ourselves where that shift can happen.
Yeah.
And I hope that these people that I have the honor of photographing, who are not my subjects but really are my mentors, can open up that heart. So I do believe in change.
Good. I mean, because there's so much like that we like to feel that we're making an impact in one way or another, but it's invisible to us. But clearly that doesn't stop you.
No.
And that's great. Now, do you sell in galleries as well, or is it pretty much art shows that you sell most of your work?
I just do a very few, art shows a year.
Yeah?
Like 2 to 4 or something like that. Otherwise, it's exhibitions in museums. And
well, I'm glad you do the 2 to 4 because I get to see you occasionally.
Yeah, me too.
It's
so good to see you.
It is.
And to be neighbors.
Well, I know.
Wink, wink.
Now, tell me, and I kind of think I know where you're going to go with this, that the reason that you keep doing even just a couple shows a year is because...
Oh, well, a few reasons. I think, this is how I got my start was art shows, in which I used to do so many when I was younger. And
when we were in Sausalito, 15, 20 years ago, you must have been about 12.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and the other thing is that you never know who's going to pop in an art show. I mean, I have made endless connections. It's really great. And and it's part of my mission, too, because if you're at an art show, it's going to be a different group of people, perhaps, to some degree, than we'll walk into a museum to see an exhibition.
Exactly.
And my work is so mission-driven that, I don't know, I find it really
Well, and you're such a great messenger.
Endearing. Yeah.
I mean, not just your work, but I mean, you're able to convey the message in person, and god dang it, that's a pretty powerful thing in this case. And we've had a pretty lovely weekend here. This isn't a horrible place to do a show.
No, it's so beautiful, right?
It is. It's nice to come here, and it's nice to come away having felt that we did some good, both to our pocketbooks and enlightening people. Man, some of these images, I mean, are there certain parts of the world you kind of concentrate, or are you just everywhere?
I'm all over.
Okay.
all over. And it, you know, at the exhibits, it just depends what I have at any current time more
Right.
of, and
Now tell me about this image. Was this a ceremony that you were
it's not. It's
watching?
a day-to-day sort of thing. Like you and I put on our clothes, and women put on their makeup. Other people adorn themselves, and
Wow.
it's called Current of Life. And you know, you can just see the decorative nature of it is like a current. But to me, it's so much about community and the care of community. You know, the African
Sure.
proverb, "It takes a village."
Yes.
This sort of sums it up. You have this young boy, and then you have the older boys there that are, you know, almost the sense of guardianship and,
Oh,
and
yeah, that
kindness.
certainly comes through.
It's really great.
Now, how did this all start? Did you go to art school, or have you always had an interest in photography or storytelling, or what's your background on that? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in San Francisco.
Okay.
And I started photographing at 11. I had a
right.
mentor that taught me sebachrome printing, which is a silver dye bleach process in the darkroom. And
Okay.
but I was a kid that loved all the arts. I did poetry and drawing and photography and
So
music.
narrowing it down
and-
was kind of a challenge.
Well, I just had the desire to go elsewhere and to you know, see the world. And like anyone, I brought a camera, and then
Yeah.
when I returned home, the response to it, which was simply personal
Yeah.
for me, was pretty great. And I was shown to somebody that had a photo agency, and they hired me outright. That was my beginnings.
Okay, that was your beginnings. And so then, in the course of your travels, and you're capturing so many of these moments in your travels, at what point did you get a sense of mission?
Well, you know, I think for all of us as artists, our work is sort of our teacher, right?
Right.
And it was in hindsight that I really saw what the work did for me, and that was the work for me is an absolute, utter, infinite sense of possibility of what it is to be alive. You know, like there's 1,000 ways to be
Sure.
alive, and it must have been when I was around my late 20s that I really started to see things honing together
Yeah.
and what it meant to me and to others, but really, you know, what course it had for me in my life.
Yes.
And it was really neat. And then I was at a summit where I was asked to be the exhibitor with His Holiness the Dalai Lama and other Nobel laureates, and then I learned about slavery, and that brought on a whole new
The more you
body
dug,
of work.
the deeper your mission got,
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
And where do you see yourself going? I mean, this is not a static thing. I mean, there's a lot of the world still to see. Is that what you're going to do? Just keep peeling back the layers, or is there a real direction shift you see
I
coming?
definitely trust life. I always believe that, you know, when you take intricate steps forward, that the path is revealed. And so I don't think too much into the future, but I'm very into what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
love making images. I love being out and doing advocacy and.
Yeah.
You know, having an impact on societies and governments and lay
Man, you
people.
just,
It's really
people
meaningful.
like you that make people like me feel so small.
That's hecka funny.
No, that's not. No, you are an inspiration.
Ah, thanks.
And I love it. And
Well,
knowing
neighbor, I'm
you,
so glad.
Yeah, knowing you has just been a pleasure for a long time, and I really enjoy getting to see your work. So
And
we
my
gotta
daughter. You get to meet my
yes,
daughter.
we got to meet Ima.
Yeah,
That was-
Iman.
Imo?
Iman.
Iman. That's right.
IMAN.
Beautiful young lady, but
Yeah,
she's
she's
not
pretty
little
awesome.
anymore.
No, she's all grown up. I mean, you
I was
saw her
hoping
when she was
she'd
so
be here.
tiny.
I know.
She's still sleeping.
Well, she's
Teenager.
a teenager. Okay, we're going to get to work because we still got some work to do. Let's get our selfie.
All right.
Let's go get them.
All right, let's go get 'em.
Thanks for the day.